Good morning and welcome back. It is now a cool September 5th morning. We had a little bit of dew overnight, and once again we are nice and smoky and hazy out here. So not going to be a whole lot going on this week. We're still waiting for corn to mature, but it is getting closer, and we do still have some standing canola. But there is going to be some winter wheat going in the ground this week. This field here is going to get seeded into winter wheat in just a couple days, but before we do that, we are going to do a pre-burn. So as you can see, there's some pretty good patches of roundleaf mallow in here. There's also a couple isolated kochia here and there. We got some regrowth of wild oats as well as some regrowth of wheat and barley, and we do have some sow thistles in here as well. So we are going to come in here, take care of these guys. We're probably just going to hit this with Blackhawk here, and probably even just this afternoon, get some of this stuff burned off and taken care of before we're going into winter wheat. Well, in some of these fields there is certainly a lot of volunteer cereal starting to come now. The combining has been done for a week or two. In this case, this is all volunteer winter wheat, so we really want to try to take care of this fall rather than waiting till spring when it's just trying to break dormancy and we're trying to seed another crop into it. Still this week there is some greener canola fields that still have yet to be swathed. This particular one here on the main stems, we are starting to see some decent color change in here. So this plant, for example, it would be ready to swath. It's a good 80% color change. However, mixed in with it, it is a pretty high proportion of plants that have very low overall color change. So of course we got to compromise and call it an average. So this field probably be ready to swath around the end of the week. And some of the cornfields are coming along really nice now. As you can see by the bottoms of some of the plants, we are starting to see some signs of drying down. And when we look at the cobs, you can see this one is denting and coming along pretty well. Milk line is definitely on the move. We've got, we're 50 to 60% milk line. Got a nice solid starchy cap on the top. Getting pretty close to silaging on some of these guys now. Well, now that we've had some rain, you can really see the volunteer pulses getting going. There's quite a few fields where we have peas that have germinated here in the last week. So it'll be interesting to see what these do. They'll actually, if the field's not too dirty otherwise, might actually provide some decent fall grazing. Well, this dryland field that was heavily drought stressed over the last few weeks is getting combined now, and you can see it's pretty much almost in the nick of time. Looking at the stubble down here, you can see there is quite a bit of regrowth occurring since we started to get rain just over a week ago. So there is the odd plant here and there that is actually starting to show some flower buds on it here and there. But for the most part right now, it's just green growth, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. This stuff might start to flower again in a week or so. We'll see what happens. Well, the silage oats that were seeded after the fall rye came off are looking great. These are absolutely huge. They're over waist high on me. Really nice heavy crop. There is some weeds and stuff in that lower canopy, but overall it's not too bad. The oats have really outgrown them and outshadowed them. So things here are looking good. It should be pretty good silage yield in a field like this. Here by Picture Butte, the silage corn is looking really good. For the most part, we are well into the dent stage. Milk line is moving rapidly, and things are coming along pretty good. We're going to start to see this corn start to dry down in the next week or two, and we're going to start to see silage trucks running in here in no time at all. There is quite a few aphids in some fields starting to build up, usually on the husks of the ears. Basically, you can just kind of see they're doing some surface feeding. Kind of makes the husk kind of sticky to touch. But there's a lot of natural predators like these ladybug larvae here, which are just in the process of turning themselves into beetles. So there's really nothing we need to do about these aphids. It's just cosmetic damage more than anything. And the crop will be off before they do any sort of damage to it. Well, my canola field with variable maturity up by Carmen Gay is coming along. The first crop, for the most part, is completely ripe, but the secondary growth, some of it is still a bit on the green side, but it has matured quite a bit even since last week. So I think it's about time we can come in here now. We can hit this with glyphosate and some heat, start letting it dry down. And we're going to probably have to do that because some of this really late growth that was very, very drought stressed is now starting to flower, and we'll start setting new pods pretty soon if we don't do that. So that rain over the last week or two is starting to cause some secondary, or actually more like tertiary regrowth up here now. Well, some of these canola fields that have been harvested in the last few weeks, now that they've got a little bit of rain on them, we're seeing quite a bit of volunteer canola starting to come up, and that is great. That is going to do a couple different things for us. If we can get all that canola to germinate in the fall or, well, late summer like it still is right now, then it's a very good chance we can control it with frost, and the more the better, and then we don't have to worry about it next year. We can also control it chemically with a post-harvest burn off to kind of clean up that field, and preferably we'll be cleaning up any winter annuals at the same time, although I've seen very little of them emerge so far. Well, there's still some canola acreage that has yet to be combined. This standing canola is relatively dry, and we should be able to take it off here this afternoon. But the heavy dews we've been having overnight pretty consistently in the last week have really limited harvest time to kind of the afternoon into the early evening until we start to get another dew again. So there is still some acres standing, and we'll be done pretty soon. Well, it's Friday morning now, and we're overcast with a little bit of rain, which means it is absolutely perfect weather for swathing canola. This canola here is getting swathed, and we're finding something interesting. On the stems down here, there is a little bit of a white mold. It's actually quite hard to see on the stem until you rub it with your fingers. But when the swather runs through it, you can see it's pretty dramatic. All this mold is building up on the swather. I mean, certainly nothing worth doing anything about, but interesting to see. Well, that'll be it for this week, so thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.